What's up, everybody? Fortexfiend here. Welcome back again to my channel with another video on SD Gundam G Generation Eternal. And you probably saw the thumbnail of this video, and I know it's probably going to trigger a lot of the Gundam Wing fanboys. I mean, I'm a fanboy myself, but in this video, I'm going to give you guys my honest review of the free SSR Attacker HEERO pilot, as well as the free SSR unit, the Wing Gundam Endless Waltz version. But before I go ahead and get started with that, you guys know the drill. If you enjoy what you see on this channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, leave a like or dislike, and comment down below what you guys think of these free units and pilot that we got to celebrate the 30th anniversary for Gundam Wing. Now, before I actually review them, I just want to point one thing out. This is for the dev team, by the way. See these character requests? Please don't do this again. This is pretty obnoxious, at least in my opinion, and I know there's some of you out there that do share this same sentiment. This was pretty obnoxious. I mean, the first panel we had to do 5. It's like, kind of like, come on, you're gonna make us wait for these rewards? It's like, I'm just saying, okay? And if you disagree with me, it is what it is, but I thought this was a bit obnoxious. So dev team, you've been warned. Okay, anyways, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the pilot and the unit that we got for free. I'm actually going to start off with the pilot first, because I actually think the pilot is pretty impressive. So, HEERO is an attacker pilot. He's like a hybrid, primarily range, with a little bit of melee built into his stats. So he could do really good range damage, and he can also do some pretty okay melee damage. And you can actually see that too with his abilities. He does have a conditional chance step, so he is a double chance step SSR pilot, but he does have to be piloting a unit from Mobile Suit Gundam Wing, so this incentivizes you more if you're going to be using this pilot to use him in a Gundam Wing suit, which you probably should be anyways. We see that he has increased range level 3. He also does have affinity with Operation Meteor, which is a brand new tag, if I'm not mistaken. But essentially, if he's piloting a unit from Operation Meteor, and as we can see right here, these are the units available in this particular lineup. But if he's piloting one of those, he gets increased dealt damage to enemies by 10%, as well as reducing damage he takes by 10%. And then afterwards, that fourth passive that he gets at level 80 is going to be that increased melee by 5%. So a hybrid ranged melee type of a styled attacker, which I think fits him well. If you guys watch the anime, you know that he's all about his Buster Rifle, but he's not afraid to get in close with that Beam Saber. In terms of his actual skills, I think they're fantastic. He has a skill that boosts the damage that he specializes in, which is range by 15% for 1 turn. And then he does have sway if needed, if he's in a pinch and you need to survive or you want to keep him alive, because I do think for an SSR pilot, he's actually pretty good. Double chance step is always nice. He has solid stats even at level 90, and he's really good. And then if we take a look at the details here, he now also has those tags, which is something that they added that's new. So he's part of Alternative, Protagonist, Gundam Pilot, Mono Eye Pilot, and Transforming Unit Pilot. This is going to be very useful later down the line, because as we've seen with the newly released Eternal Road stages, they're now also including pilot tags. So down the line, the more tags that a pilot has, I think it's definitely going to be beneficial. And if you decide to use your SP conversion badges on this pilot, this is going to be the statistics that he has. So as you can see, his range jumps to a whopping 783, which is really good. And his melee gets even better at 562. But do keep in mind that everything else stays the same. He doesn't get anything brand new. Unfortunately, with SSR units, because they're already really good, you don't really get that much of a return for using your SP conversion badges on them. So unless HEERO is an absolute favorite and you want to use your SP conversion badges, I personally would not. You're better off using it on the SR or R units that are currently available. If you even want to use your badge on, for example, the SR version of HEERO Yui, which is a support pilot, I would much rather do that than using it on the SSR. I think the SSR honestly does not need it, and you're fine as is. So my overall thoughts on the pilot: he's great. He has good stats. He's offensive. He has really good skills, very good abilities, and he also does have that conditional double chance step, which makes him a more desirable pilot. And he is part of 5 different tags, which I think makes him an overall a very solid SSR pilot. So the pilot definitely gets a thumbs up, at least in my opinion. Okay, we're going to go ahead and talk about the Wing Gundam Endless Waltz. And yes, I know I'm probably going to get some heat because I did use my SP conversion coins, and I did so because when I first saw this unit when I was live streaming, I got excited because I'm like, ooh, we get another free unit. It's Gundam Wing. It's the Endless Waltz version of Wing Gundam, which wasn't in the anime, but it was in the manga. And then after I did that, I took a look at the stats of this particular unit, and I also did take a look at the weapon skills. We're going to take a look at the stats first. We're going to take a look at it with its upgrades. So without the SP conversion, or actually, excuse me, looks like we can't even do that. Well, anyways, now that it's SP converted, I can't even talk about it with, at level 90. It has 11,401 attack with some really good mobility as well. As you could see, it has 9 tags that it's a part of, which I think is really good. It has shield defense, and it's part of the series for Endless Waltz and also Gundam Wing. So that attack is okay. However, if we go back to here and take a look at its actual abilities, it has increased attack, and then it has a really unique passive or ability where every time it deals combat during damage, it increases its own attack by 3% up to 15% at the end of combat. So it keeps increasing its attack up to 15%. So if you take 15%, right? If we go back into the details here, take 15% of 11,401, that's around what, like 1,700? It pushes its attack to 13,000, which is really high, but the caveat is it needs to deal damage, and at the same time it needs to survive. So if this thing gets taken out, you don't really benefit from that up to 15% attack. So you want to make sure that you're protecting this thing if you're bringing it into combat, so that way you could really benefit from that that gradual attack boost that it gets from dealing damage. But I think it's a really, really cool passive. But it's definitely something that you got to play around with. You want to be mindful of. You want to keep this thing alive, right? And then it also does have increased mobility, which is why you see its mobility is around the high 9,000s, which is nice. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and talk about its weapon skills. I think whoever designed this unit, I feel like does not like Wing, or they wanted to lightweight troll. I don't know. But its most powerful skill has an okay attack power or weapon power at 5,160 at level 5, but it has no weapon effect, and this thing is ranged. And if you take a look at it, it only has a range of up to 4. So I don't know what they were trying to go with this. I mean, range 4 is not terrible, but for a unit that focuses on range damage, and especially you're probably going to use this thing with Hiro Yui, ranged up to 4, and then having your most powerful skill have no effect. Like, they didn't even bother giving it, like, the farther you are, the more damage you deal. Kind of questionable, in my opinion. Its other weapon abilities, as you take a look at right here, it does have machine cannon. This one has a power of 4,320, but this one wants you to be closer to the enemy. And you get up to a 12% increase. And then, yeah, range 2? Weird? I think it's a weird design. And then the Beam Saber, all right? Level 5 Beam Saber. It has increased critical damage by 25%, which is nice. And if you do use the HEERO Pilot with this, you are also going to be dealing more melee damage, because he does have that secondary stat of melee being his second highest offensive stat. And then you have increased critical damage in the event that you do crit. But remember, this is an in-your-face ability, and this unit is built primarily to be ranged. So again, weird. And then finally, its map attack has, with these map attacks, it has an okay power at 3,720. It is an SSR unit. Not bad, but then if you take a look at the coverage, it's just a straight line. And remember, there's the Wing Gundam Zero. That's an SSR that you could develop. Mind you, it is a supporter type unit, but that has a wide range of coverage versus this one that's only a straight line. So it does have decent terrain capability. It can fight in space, cannot fight in the air, unless, of course, if you decide to transform it, which when you do transform it, it does have that capability, but it also reduces its stats. And again, you're only left with the Buster rifle, and as you can see right here, no weapon effect. So you more than likely will not be using it in bird mode, but it does get that atmospheric terrain capability. I do like, again, how it has shield defense. And then also one other thing that I noticed, its movement can only move up to 4 tiles, which is, for positioning, not the greatest. For a DPS unit, I would have rather had this at 5. It's at 5 in bird mode, but again, you're not using this thing in bird mode. So, my thoughts on this unit, the pros are, it's free. We get a free unit, it's in Celebration, it looks cool. I will say it does look cool, it's free. Its other pro is that it covers 9 different tags, 2 series, so we have that, and with its gradual attack increase, as long as you're able to fulfill it, it can actually hit 13k attack, which is pretty high for an SSR unit. Everything else about it is really subpar. I know some people are saying this unit is even bad. I'm trying to be a little bit nicer about it, but objectively, it's not the most desirable SSR unit. We've definitely seen SSR units that are a lot better than this. There's even SR units, like for example, SR Freedom from the was it Gundam Seed? That SR that has like a 6k attack power, weapon power skill, which is crazy for an SR. I would much rather use that than this thing. And if you're asking right now, well, is this thing worth SP converting? Yes, I know it does sound hypocritical because I did SP it, but I SP'd it out of excitement before I actually looked at what this thing can do, and then I kind of regretted it. So unless it's an absolute favorite and you want to do some cool runs with it, I wouldn't use your SP tokens on this thing at all. Honestly, if I were to use the HEERO pilot, I would much rather use him in Wing Gundam. And I know, yes, it's a supporter unit. It's not an attacker unit. It does have lower attack, but look at its most powerful skill, right? It's at 4,800 power, which is only a little, like 300 points under the most powerful skill of the other Wing Gundam, but it also has a debuff that increases damage taken from beam weapons by up to 30%. So that can actually come into play if you're using the HEERO attacker pilot into this unit. Not only that, but it does have the Buster Rifle, which does have a defense down of 20%. And if we take a look at the range on that, that has a 4 range. So again, very weird that they designed the EW version to be, I don't know, subpar. And then again, the map ability of this, the rolling Buster Rifle. Look at that area coverage, right? If we take a look at the power too at level 5 compared to the other one, there's not that much of a difference. What, it's like a 400 point difference, but remember, that's an attacker unit. This is a supporter unit. And because this is part of the the Operation Meteor and as well as the Mobile Suit Gundam, you're going to benefit from all of the passives that the HEERO Yui pilot that we just got for free has. So honestly, I would much rather run that attacker pilot in this unit if you're asking my honest opinion, or if you even want to have more fun, and you're going to miss out on the Operation Meteor tag, but shoot, run him in Death Scythe. Like Death Scythe for being a defender unit. I mean, remember, this thing has a skill that has 7,560. It has an attack down, and if you take a look at the type of damage it is, it's also ranged. So it's going to take advantage of HEERO's most powerful stat, which is range. And yes, I get it, it's a defender unit, but I feel like he would do better in this than this thing. So, I don't know, guys. Maybe call it me being too negative. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm just trying to be as objective as I can. I know I probably have some torches and pitchforks like raised at me right now saying, how dare you? But I'm a Gundam Wing fanboy, but I think this thing for a attacker SSR is very subpar. I definitely would not use your SP conversion coins on this unless you absolutely really like this unit. There's better units to use it on. It's great for collection. You could definitely still use it. It is a usable unit. It's just for an attacker type unit that wants to focus on range. They designed it very subparly, just to keep it, just to be nice about it. But let me know what you guys think about this free Wing Gundam Endless Waltz version. The HEERO pilot is great. I think this particular unit is subpar, but let me know what you guys think down below. Maybe I'm wrong. Point it out to me if I missed out anything about this unit, but I think it's subpar. All right, guys. Well, thank you again for watching this video. Stay tuned for the next one, and stay blessed, everybody.